When you think about a court order, you probably picture a big red stop sign, right? Something that just tells someone to stop doing something. But what happens when the damage is already done? What if the car is already blown through the intersection? Well, today we're going to look at a pretty rare but really powerful legal tool, an order that doesn't just say stop. It actually says, hey, you need to go back and fix this.
And that raises a pretty fascinating question, doesn't it? I mean, think about it. If someone builds a wall where it shouldn't be on your property, or just straight up takes something that belongs to you, what can a court do? Is it just about cutting a check for damages, or can the law actually step in and reverse the action itself? That's the big puzzle we're digging into today. Okay, so the main tool the law uses for this is something called an injunction. It's basically a direct order from a judge. Super powerful. But here's the thing. It comes in two very different flavors, and that's where this gets really interesting.
All right, so let's break this down. You can think of it like this. One kind of injunction is the law's brake pedal, right? Its whole job is to stop something bad from happening in the first place. But the other kind, that's like the law's reverse gear. It's designed to make someone actively go back and undo what they've already done.
So here's how that plays out. On one side, you've got the prohibitory injunction. That's our brake pedal. This is the common one. Its job is to preserve the status quo, which really just means keeping things exactly as they are, freezing the situation. But then, on the other side, you have the mandatory injunction, our reverse gear. This one is way rarer, and its purpose is totally different. It forces someone to take action to restore how things were. It's not just about stopping the car, it's about making the driver put it in reverse and back it up.
And there's this fantastic quote from back in 1893 that just nails why this reverse gear is so important. Judge Taft basically said that sometimes the status quo, the way things are right now, is actually the problem. Just leaving things in the state of rest is what's causing all the damage. So in those situations, a court has no choice but to step in and order someone to do something to make it right.
Okay, so if this tool is so powerful, you're probably wondering, why isn't it used all the time? Well, it's because forcing someone to take an action is a huge deal. I mean, it's a major exercise of power. And because of that, courts are incredibly careful about it. There's a really high bar you have to clear before a judge will even consider it.
And the language the courts use to describe this tells you everything you need to know. They call it an extraordinary and drastic remedy. I mean, drastic. That phrasing comes straight from legal decisions, and it really shows you how seriously judges take this. They save this for the most exceptional cases, pretty much when nothing else is going to work.
So how does a court actually decide? Well, let's look at India, for example. They have what's called the triple test. It's like a three-part checklist. First, your case has to be incredibly strong, way stronger than usual. Second, the damage has to be irreparable. That's a fancy way of saying money just can't fix it. And third, the balance of convenience has to tip in your favor. Basically, the court has to agree that doing nothing would cause way more harm than issuing the order would.
And it's not just in India either. You see the same kind of thinking in the U.S. legal system. The standards are just as tough. You have to show a clear or substantial likelihood that you'll win the case, prove that extreme or very serious damage is on the line, and demonstrate that this order is the least oppressive way to fix things. It really is a universal idea, right? With this much power, you have to be extremely cautious.
Okay, so that's all the theory. But what does this actually look like in the real world? When does a court actually pull this lever and force someone to undo something they've done?
Here's a great example from back in 1966. In this case, Graham v. Board of Supervisors. A county's voting plan was flat out unconstitutional. Now, the court could have just said, you can't use that plan anymore. But they went a step further. They issued a mandatory injunction that forced the board to go back to the drawing board and create a brand new constitutional plan. They didn't just stop the wrong, they ordered them to create the right.
And you see this principle in more everyday stuff too, right? Like if your neighbor builds an illegal structure, a court can order them to tear it down. If someone takes your property, a court can order them to return it. If they damage your land, a court can order them to restore it. See the pattern? It's always about compelling an action to put things back the way they were supposed to be.
So let's zoom out for a second. Why does this one specific, kind of rare legal tool matter so much? Well, because this is about way more than just fixing one person's problem. This gets to the very heart of what gives our justice system its power and authority.
Yeah, this is really the core of it. The power to issue a mandatory injunction is what gives a court order its teeth. It ensures that a judge's decision isn't just a piece of paper. It means that when a court speaks, it has real-world impact. It can deliver true justice,
not just by stopping a bad thing from continuing, but by actually undoing it.
And Lord Diplock summed it up perfectly. He said that the whole system of justice would be undermined if court orders could just be ignored without any consequences. That's it, right there. The ability to enforce these kinds of orders, to make people act, is what the rule of law is built on. Without that power, the whole thing just kind of falls apart.
Which brings us to a really important final thought. This power is, without a doubt, immense and absolutely necessary. But let's be real, it also forces someone to do something which is a major infringement on their liberty. And so, the real ongoing challenge for the courts is striking that perfect, delicate balance, making sure this extraordinary and drastic remedy is only ever used when justice truly, absolutely demands it.